Hey guys, if I can have your attention for just a minute, I want to introduce these two up here on our panel. So first we're coming ceviches, as you guys have seen, the Sunday before every home game we plan on doing these. So I think the actual title is called Clack's Corner. So Coach, we appreciate you being here. And again, ceviches 7 to 9 every Sunday before home game. So before they get started, I just want to quickly introduce both Bill and Adam real quick. So some of you guys might know Bill Berry. I actually just met him this past year. I'm embarrassed to say I've been on the board 3 years, and this is the first time I've ever met him. It was about 3 months ago during the spring game. So he does a phenomenal job. As I said, you probably won't recognize his face, but you'll certainly recognize his voice. Bill had 2 boys here, Frank and Brett here in the 2000s, early 2000s. So he had 2 sons playing football, and just kind of as it happens here at Milton, once you start kind of getting on the board and getting involved, your kids are involved, I guess as time passes you stay involved. So we really, a warm welcome for Bill Berry. We're really excited to have him. 13 years again, and puts a lot of time, energy, and effort, gives us his weekends in the fall, home, away games, both of them, does the stats for us as well, so we really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Bill. Low profile. Next to him, we've got Adam Clack. Feel free to applaud. As many of you know, Coach will kind of get into this a little deeper dive with the intro, so I'll just kind of give a surface level. Came to us from West Forsyth, coached the varsity team over at West Forsyth for 3 years, and we are super, super glad to have you, Coach. Really are. We thank you for being here. So, again, warm welcome for Coach Clack. I'm going to turn it over to Bill. We really appreciate it. Sorry, housekeeping real quick. Before we get started, I've got a roster for each of the tables if y'all can share. A couple different ways. We want this to be open. Certainly at the beginning of the program, Coach is going to go through, Bill's going to go through several questions. But as you're thinking of questions, please either jot them down. On the top of the roster that Parker's handing out is my cell phone number. You can text it to me. You can write them down. If you just want to write them down and throw them in this box. Towards the end, I'm going to pass them over to Bill and let him just kind of go through the questions. If there's any open time afterwards, I'm going to go open Q&A. So in the meantime, if you got questions, either text them to me. My name's at the top of the roster sheet, or again, just pencils over here. Just write it down and drop it in there. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Bill Berry and Coach Clack. Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, so just a little more about me. I've been doing the PA thing here at Milton for about 13 years. I lost track. My wife is telling me I've never graduated from high school, and she's wondering when I will. My sons did play football here. They had 1 coach. I've had 4.
Wow.
Yeah, you're my 4th coach. But you know, back then I was a big football dad, like a lot of you guys are. I see the passion in your eyes, and I used to have that. You know, I still love Milton football, but I'm just not as close to it as you guys are. So, you know, at the beginning of every season, it's a brand new season for me. New kids, new numbers to think about, memorize. I know the way these kids look and walk on the field, but I don't know what they look like. If you showed up in person, I wouldn't know it. I met Parker today, and he's probably been hanging around Milton for years. So, anyway, not a lot of facial recognition for me. So I'm going to probably keep this at a little bit more general level of detail, and I hope as we go through the program, like Tim says, you're going to have some questions. They'll probably be a little more specific, and as we designed this program, and really this one was, this whole setup was initiated by Coach Clack. He asked for this. I think he's done something similar to this in earlier opportunities, but he asked for this, so he's going to get what he asked for. We're going to do the best we can to deliver on that for him. Part of that is the transparency, you know. I know he wants to hear your open and honest comments, and we want to hear his too. I would just caution you a little bit. I'd like to keep this as positive as we can. There's going to be certain questions that he's not going to want to answer, and he probably won't answer because they're a little more personal or private nature. You know, questions like, "Why didn't my kid play last night?" We're not going to answer that one. All right. I think in the future, what we'll do is he'll bring a few coaches up. And he'll bring some players up. They'll all have an opportunity to gain a little bit of poise in front of Josh and his camera and YouTube to the world. That'll be kind of cool. They'll be proud of that one day. So in the future, we'll be doing that too. We have 5 or 4 more shows to do. look forward to that opportunity. But every time we do this, our plan will be to review the last game, look forward to the next game, talk about strategy. We'll be able to question the coach here a little bit with some of his play calling. If you want to kind of figure out why on 4th and 1 instead of punting, you went for it, that'd be a great question you could ask at some point in time down the road. But we'll wait for that opportunity when it comes. You may be thinking about some plays that you saw last night and getting those questions ready, because I think you'd enjoy having a chance to answer those. I didn't see a lot of missed play calling last night, but didn't mean to indicate anything else. All right, you got the instructions from Tim on how to get your questions in. Give him a text, bring him a written paper that he can read. That's one thing about the press box. When they bring me stuff to read, and I kind of insist on it, half the time I can't read it. It's just not legible. All right, well, let's get on with our questioning of Coach Clack here. Some of these questions I may have and you guys don't, but I'm going to ask them anyway. On the personal side, Coach, I don't know a whole lot about you. I know you went to Georgia Southern. I guess you played football there. Not sure. I know you coached 3 years at West Forsyth, but I don't know a lot more. I know you're always at Milton High School doing something. But a little bit more about you. Can you tell us, are you married? Do you have hobbies? Who are you pulling for on Saturdays and Sundays? What you got?
Spent the better half of a decade down at Georgia Southern, like I said. I actually started coaching not at Georgia Southern, but while I was in college, I started coaching at Southeast Middle School and then high school. Came to Forsyth County immediately after. Was at South Forsyth for a year. Coached wrestling and football. I was a three-sport athlete growing up. Really believe in multiple sports and things like that. Baseball, football, and wrestling, like I said. I spent a year at South and then 10 years at West Forsyth. Went and opened up that program and kind of, really cut my teeth as a coach there, and was able to be around a lot of great coaches. Frank Hepler was the head coach there, gave me a chance to come on. He promoted me to offensive coordinator, I guess it was 6-7 years ago now, and then when he moved on, I was able to become the head coach there. So that was kind of my professional side up to this point. I have taught, see that in there. I do teach social studies. Right now I'm currently teaching an econ class and doing some other administrative duties. But I've taught all kinds of social studies, U.S. history, world geography, econ, doing a little political science this year as well. So really got a passion for some of that stuff, and I love a good documentary. Yes, married, actually technically still kind of a newlywed, I guess, just over a year we're married. Ashley and I, we dated for a long time, and she was able to kind of fill out whether she could be with the coach's life, and had a year of being a head coach before we got engaged, and she's just incredible. She puts up with a lot. I haven't been home a whole lot in the last 2 weeks, and spending time with everybody else and things like that. And she's my support. She takes it like a champ, and she loves to see what I'm doing, and she knows why I'm doing it.
Good. Hey, talk about your coaching philosophy a little bit. Are you a real hands-on kind of guy? Do you let your coaches run the show and while you look on and criticize later? Or what's your philosophy on coaching?
Well, you can take this in a lot of different directions. I mean, you've got philosophical philosophies about the bigger reason of why we do this, and building young men to what I think is the greatest sport in the world. I mean, nothing teaches team and adversity and all those great character traits like football does, in my opinion. But in terms of my coaching staff and how we handle that, I've tried to do my best to surround me with as many great coaches as I can, and I want to let them coach. Obviously, I have the offensive background, and I've been a coordinator and play caller for the past 6 years, but I actually went out and found somebody that I think is fantastic, and Coach Reed, who I've really delegated those responsibilities to, and he and I converse, and we just got done meeting for about 6 hours this afternoon, and obviously I'm very involved in all this, ultimately have final say and have extreme ownership over what happens in our program. If something doesn't work, it's going to be my fault. Yeah. And I'm behind that 100%. But I want to let those guys coach. It's up to me to address something if I don't think it is going correctly. But more times than not, I'm praising because, like I said, my number one job when I got here was to bring in the best, absolute best coaches that I could, because they're going to be the ones connecting to your kids on a day-to-day basis.
Fantastic. So I know there are a lot of folks that put in for the job that you currently occupy. I'm hearing over 100. You have a perspective on why you were selected for this position?
That's tough. You know, I think I have some familiarity with the area. You know, we played Milton when I was at West several times. I think there's some similarity with the areas and understanding some of the needs and you know, some of the things that I think would make this program take a step to the next level. I talked a lot in my interview, you know, kind of my vision for Milton and how I didn't see it as a rebuild of any sort. I just saw it as, you know, it just needs to push forward in certain things. I think my offensive background was something that they were looking for, and because, to be honest, Milton's played really good defense historically over the years. I think they really liked just my vision of really trying to reach out to the community, which, you know, this is what this is all about right now. I made that very important. Part of bringing in the coaches that I brought in was so I would have more time and more energy to put into things like this. There'd be no way I could do this right now if I would still be working on practice scripts and you know, third down situations and things like that till probably 9 o'clock tonight if I didn't have Coach Reed and Coach Morton. So I think there were just several things that I touched on that I thought would take this program to the next level. And you know, I guess my vision was something that was in line with the administration, which it has to be, and in line with what they thought the community was hungry for as well.
So let me just read some stats to you here to see if you recognize this game, okay? So this was a game that Milton believed that we would win on paper. It just didn't go that way. The best we could do that night at our own home field was 2 field goals, a 38-yarder and a 48-yarder by Nick Augello. That's pretty much it. While the other team put up 31 points and 17 of them in the fourth quarter. The other team ran 74 plays that night to our 55 in about the same amount of time. And 280 of the 351 yards gained by that team that night were passing yards. 280 out of 351. Quarterback threw the ball 40 times, 27 receptions spread out among 6 receivers. So you recognize that game?
I do.
Which game was that, Coach?
I believe that was West Forsyth and Milton.
Yeah, it was back in October. Final score 31-6, West Forsyth. That was an impressive performance for sure. I think that may have had something to do with that perspective that you were sharing with us earlier about why you're in the job.
It came up. And you know, the thing I would speak to on that, and it's a huge philosophy of mine, is we're going to work hard to put the players that we have in the best situation to succeed. And we want to evaluate, you know, fully. If you were at the game last night, I think George Cole played 5 different positions last night on defense. We had lots of guys running on and off the field, both offensively and defensively. And the purpose of that is by the time you get to region play, you know, which is not until week 6, you have the best idea about what you have and how you can match those up. You know, one of the things I love about football is working on the scheme. You know, sometimes I think I can over-scheme and try to get too cute. But at the end of the day, it is a player's game. And if you can find ways to get your players in advantageous situations, let them know what they need to do to be successful, and then let them go out and play fast and have fun doing it, good things can happen.
Right.
And you know, that night I think we just have to dial up some of the right things, and the boys did game plan and they believed in it, and you know, after 48 minutes we were really excited about what happened.
Yeah. Well, you were watching us pretty close and figured out where we were, where we had some gaps, took advantage of those gaps. What are you seeing on Milton's team over the offseason? There are those gaps that you're trying to fill right now with improvement.
You know, I think it was pretty cool. We do a common purpose each year, and we obviously have our core, our values, and those type of things about the philosophy of our program that stay consistent. But each team needs an identity of what's most important today. And I leave that up to them, and they kind of tell me. And if you've seen the hashtag impact, it is the hashtag, that's 100% them, and it deals around our relentless effort for value. They said that, not me. They said after reflecting, what's going to make us better immediately, and they said it's effort, day in, day out, play. So there's things that we will do to aid them in that. A lot of it is accountability measures, and I remind them that they asked for that. And other things is just conditioning and stamina and making sure we can play 48 minutes and building that depth that I was just talking about, so that we can run guys on and off the field. So by doing that, I feel like we can maximize our talent. We can always have a next man up mentality. You're not going too far down the line so that you're putting somebody out there on Friday night who's not ready. But it's very taxing on the guys. And I hope what you'll see is that where we are today, where we'll be tomorrow and the next week, it'll just continue to progress, because there's a lot of learning that still has to take place. There's a lot of roles that will still be identified, and that's what we'll constantly be reflecting on, evaluating, to try to put the best product on the field in week 15 versus week 1.
So one thing Tim shared with me today is the fact that the last two games we've had, both of which were scrimmages, right? One with it was Brookwood and Westlake last night. Those two teams are the GPB top 10 7A schools right now. So I guess the philosophy is pick out the best teams to play, go play, and it can only make you better.
Yeah, I mean, line them up, let's go play them. I think you learn a lot more by measuring yourself up against good competition and things that are going to challenge you than just by picking out some easy check marks. That goes right back into, we're trying to build that competitive nature. We appreciate our competition, we appreciate our competitors, because we know they're going to make us better. And I think we've done that all summer. Like I said, lining up with Brookwood gave us a good barometer. Lining up with some of the teams in the summer gave us a good barometer. Westlake last night gave us an excellent barometer about where we are and where we need to go.
So, Coach, talk about the summer a little bit in the off-season. I think you guys had a couple of 7-on-7 tournaments. I feel like you fared pretty well there. What's been happening in the off-season to get you ready? Those kids looked big on the field last night. When I looked down at them, is that really Milton? There's been some conditioning going on apparently, and what's been happening in the off-season?
I give credit where credit's due, and that strength has never been an issue at Milton High School. And they've always bought into working in the weight room and making that important. But what we really tried to bring to the summer is to expand upon just the weight room importance. We ran a lot. Ask them. We ran a lot, but we also did a lot of structured football type stuff every day or 4 days a week. On a typical week, we would get an hour of structured football time. Practice scripts, coaches working with their position groups, team stuff. We would lift, we would run, but we also organized not a lot, but a few camps where we could go do some 7-on-7 tournaments, 7-on-7, and then we also did what's called a contact. They basically call them hookups, where it's not a camp, it's not an all-day, 3-day type of thing, but you line up with Lassiter, Cherokee, and Wheeler, and you get about 3 hours of good work in, and then you come home and you're home by 1. We did that a couple of times. It's trying to find that balance between the work that you have to put in to keep up, but not going overboard to the point where now we're in game mode and the kids are ready for it to be over.
Right, sure. Hey, the freshmen in the JV team, I think you have a philosophy on the JV team that you'd like to share with us, but what about those guys? How are they looking, and what's the outlook for those guys in the coming year? Such strong performances last year, are we going to be in a position to keep that up?
Well, I really look at JV not as a separate team. That's why I don't really use that distinction a whole lot. We don't have a JV team. It's very fluid. It's like a AAA baseball team. So to say what their strengths and weaknesses will be will really be week to week. Every player gets 6 quarters a week. So if they play 4 quarters of varsity ball, 1 snap equals a quarter. If if they were a special teams guy and they played 4 snaps in that 4 quarters, we're going to make sure they get their 2 quarters of JV. And conversely, if there's a JV guy pushing to maybe be, in that rotation of varsity, he's going to get his JV time in and then come up and start trying to help us on Friday night. So it's a constant evolution, ebb and flow of who's focused on JV time, who's focused on varsity time. At the end of the day, we're trying to win on Friday nights. And we're gonna do what we have to do to get that team ready to go. But we keep it very, very important, and it's part of our organization and practice is that those JV guys don't get forgotten about. We spent 30 minutes, 45 minutes today looking back at our practice scripts. How do we get those guys more varsity coach smart? When we're doing this over here, can we have 3 or 4 coaches go there and work with the JV guys? Because they are in the future. They're just as important for the program as anybody else.
Let's return to the varsity real quick. Talk about what's happened in the off season as far as new players or transferees into the Milton district. Anything new since the spring?
Not a lot. We had a kicker move in, Wesley Strong, who was kicking field goals for us last night. He's competing for that job and some of the punting and kickoff duties. But other than that, we're pretty status quo. There were some move-ins, our transfers in January, but not a lot since spring.
Yeah. So I know you've got a lot of juniors and sophomores that had such successful winning seasons last year. How do you plan to bring those guys into the loop and start to use that mindset of winning in your program?
We're going to play whoever's ready to play football. If we feel like you give us a shot to win and you're an 8th grader, but we can get you cleared and you're going to go up and suit up on Friday nights. But there are several sophomores who have already made an impression, and you'll see them out there, and they've earned, we don't really want to talk about starting roles and things like that, because again, it's super flexible at this point in time as we continue to move guys around. They're definitely in the mix. There's also other sophomores who, we looked at today. He needs more look. We really need to check him out. Every time he has an opportunity, it seems like he's making an impact. So yeah, we just continue to constantly evaluate, constantly try to put guys in situations where they have the opportunity to compete, they have the opportunity to show what they're capable of.
Yeah, I checked the roster out, and I counted 27 seniors, 23 juniors, and 33 sophomores on the roster. I've seen years where the Milton roster had 38 or 40 seniors on it, in a big way, and some pretty tough years followed. So, what you may have here is kind of the makings of a program that can continue into the future. Is that the way you feel about what you have right now?
Yeah, I'm definitely aware that there have been 3 pretty good classes stacked on top of each other. And that's honestly kind of rare in most high school football programs. It's kind of cyclical a lot of years. You have a good freshman group, and the next group a little down, maybe a little light, and then so on and so forth. But when you can stack 2 and then 3 together, you're really encouraged about where you are talent-wise and depth-wise. And just want to continue to keep those guys out, keep them engaged. 10th grade's a tough year. You're not isolated in your freshman group where you guys just go out and you got your identity. A lot of times you're not cracking into that varsity role. So you just want to make sure you keep those guys engaged and tougher set, But we definitely are working hard to build in some process to make sure we reach and connect with those guys, both in practice and out of practice, and give them opportunities to get better.
Coach, I know you love to maintain that kind of competitive spirit of practice, and you're always competing for a job.
Solomon Van Horst and Justin Blanks, I'd like to kind of understand what it is you're asking those guys to do this season.
Well, those are 2 guys that you flip on the film from last year, and it's pretty quick to see that they were impact players. Justin he's returning defensive player of the year in our region. Something like 15 sacks and 20 tackles for loss, which is just unheard of. Those are PlayStation numbers. He's a game changer. And not only that, he was voted yesterday by the boys. We voted on 2 in-season team captains. And he was one of the clear-cut team captains that will be representing us this year. So that tells you what his teammates think about him. Solomon and I feel like had an instant connection. Solomon's the type of guy that he just wants to go out and play ball. I mean, everything about football he loves. And when I brought in the two-position philosophy and you know, good, right, or wrong, it's very different than what it was the last few years. Just the way we practice and some of the things that we make important. The second position being one of them. And he was just excited. He had to give me an opportunity to go play some cornerback. You know, he definitely identifies and is a heck of a running back. And we knew that coming in, but he has made quite an impression playing DB, and that's all stems back to his attitude. Yes, sir. What can I do? And he's just, you know, he lights up the field, you know, just with his personality every day he's out there.
Gotta love that. Last night, you know, pretty big games, nice performance games for Joe Charleston and Jordan Yates. What was your opinion of their performance last night, if you can share?
Jordan, obviously I'm a quarterback guy, and that's kind of what kind of made my bones, coaching quarterbacks and learning and developing those through the years. And so Jordan and I have spent a lot of time together and talking, and you know, his work ethic is tremendous. He puts in work on the field, off the field, you know, constantly. And I was just excited to see him have an opportunity to show you know, all that hard work. What's more impressive about Jordan is his leadership ability, and just to be a junior, he has really stepped in. And again, talking about to the captain's voting, he was a clear-cut captain as well yesterday, and that's pretty cool to see seniors and sophomores recognize a junior in that way. But he definitely puts in the work, and I think he showed last night. He would probably be his biggest critic of last night. You know, he had a lot of great things that we did, and he's going to make sure he addresses the things that he felt like he could have done better. So again, just as you reflect back on last night, you realize it's just a benchmark. You know, it's the place that we're going to start at, and we're going to continue to work to get better and improve upon. As for Joe, you know, everybody's you know, who is not living under a rock understands you know, the publicity this young man's gotten from, and deservedly so, from great play as a sophomore. You know, he was raw last year, I think, in terms of, you know, the whole big picture game of what actually happens on Friday nights. But you could see the measurables, you could see the you know, the things that you can't coach with the way that he explodes on the ball and into people. in a very violent way. He's put in a tremendous amount of work too, and he's really becoming a complete player. And you know, the cool thing about those two guys is they're just juniors, and I can't wait to see you know, how they continue. There goes mine. We good? No, I can't wait to see how they develop, you know, as they turn into seniors and lead this team into the future.
Okay, let's talk about the three phases of the game, right? So you've got offense, defense, and special teams. Really honest now. I'd like to hear what you're thinking about kind of the status of each of those phases of the game. On offense, huge offensive line, right? Averaging over 300 pounds. Never seen him that big in Milton in all my time here, at least not the average size of the offensive line. Also, you know, Milton's been such a heavily weighted rush offense over the course of time. Just wondering, you know, what kind of changes you're making in those areas.
Again, I kind of go back to what we were talking about earlier. You know, you read off stats from last year's game where we threw the ball 40 times. That's not necessarily what I'm trying to do every single game. It's a matchup thing, or it's a personnel thing. We didn't have a 300-pound average line last year. We didn't have a local quarterback. So again, without, you know, going too deep into it, simple as it says, we're going to try and do what gives us the best chance to win. You know, we're definitely going to utilize the push that we can get up front and the explosiveness that we have in the backfield. But we also have some pretty good receivers out there who I think can win one-on-one matchups. You know, as teams start to load the box and drop guys down, we're going to have a plan for that. And another plan for that is getting an extra number in the box with a mobile quarterback. So we'll be coming around those three phases of offense. Of, what gives us the best advantage to run the ball, and then how do we exploit teams who want to drop, maybe load the box and go over the top of it.
Defense. So let's talk about that. We've historically, I think, been in a 4-3 defense. I think we're going with a 3-5 now. That's very different. Would you agree?
Yeah. You're looking at both sides of the ball. One of the big things that I talk with the guys about is about being flexible. How can we adapt to put our best foot forward or take away whatever another team is trying to do. And the 3-5, which turns into a 3-4, which can turn into a 4-2. We do that seamlessly. Maybe not right now, but as we get going forward. Another thing with a 3-man line, and as you look at high school, we have some big bodies on the offensive line, but we're using a lot of them up there. And you're normally not blessed year in and year out in a high school program to have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 big bodies to do a 5-man offensive line, 4-man defensive line. So we're utilizing that more based on personnel, and then also from the philosophy of it gives us some flexibility. We're going to be able to get in a 4-man line if we need to. We're going to be able to drop a safety back and be more of a 3-4 look if I need to. So when you say 3-5, it's kind of I don't want to call it exotic defense. It's not a conventional defense, but it's really built to, how do we maximize the players that we have? We want to get people out there running to the ball, and what gives us some flexibility.
Special teams. We've seen some new names out there. You've already said the kicker has moved in. We've been blessed over the course of the last several years anyway with kickers that can stick it in the end zone on the kickoff. It really makes a difference when the other team's starting on the 20. You think we'll have that same advantage this year? Or if we don't, how are we going to compensate for that?
Still to be determined. Special teams is probably the one that takes the longest to really get solidified. Not that we don't put lots of priority into that. We work it through the summer, but it's one of those things. Once you get all the guys there every day, and you really start to see how the offense defense shakes out. We like to put our best players on special teams when we can, but sometimes if you're playing some defense and you're playing some offense, maybe you got to take a look. So, but back to the kicker standpoint. If we can put it in the end zone or we can put it close with some high trajectory, we'd love to kick it deep. We'd love to get them on the 20 or worse, pin them inside the 20. However, if it's something that we feel like we're, it's kind of like that pitcher. If he's throwing kind of hard but not real hard, it's perfect batting practice. If we're kicking that ball into the sweet zone where we feel like it's going to be very returnable, we'll start exploring other options of dropping it on the 30 with some high arc. Squibbing it down the field from time to time. Maybe we attempt a few more onsides from time to time, and that's something that I'm definitely not afraid to do, and keep teams on their heels if we don't feel like it's a surefire 20 or worse every time.
Last night's game, Westlake, long drive down there. We waited, had a little delayed start. We sat through the whole thing. The first half was especially interesting for us. I think we saw a lot of things we liked. I hope I speak for the group here. But what did we learn about our team last night?
Again, they told the guys every time that they've lined up and competed this year that I've really been impressed with the way they competed, with the way they got after it without really fear of failure or the other name on the jersey. Because we've lined up with the Brookwoods of the world and now the Westlakes of the world and some other teams along the way, and there's been very little to no intimidation factor. Their effort, I thought, mostly was extremely commendable. I thought we, especially early on, while we still had our legs under us and our lungs with us, we ran to the ball really well against a very, very athletic and talented team. Offensively, still got a lot of things to clean up and to find that rhythm. But that's typical for this time of year. Offense needs time to find their rhythm. What I like about this team and what I've seen both in the spring game and in the scrimmage last night is that even out of rhythm, they have explosiveness. And you know, kind of nerdy stats by a coach. Turnovers is the #1 correlation to wins and losses. The second correlation to wins and losses is explosive plays. And so each game we've gone out, we've had several major explosive plays on offense. And I think we had 3 or 4 last night. Some were just well executed, and some were just very headsy. You know, picking up a corner blitz on an outside zone play and just pulling it and throwing it. We didn't work on that. That's poise, that's savvy by a junior quarterback and a senior receiver being on the same page. So those little things I take away. But again, plenty to work on. And I told the coaches today, and I've told some of the guys that I've talked to, maybe the most encouraging thing is the room for improvement. To be able to play and line up with a talented team like a Brookwood and like a Westlake, and know that you're not 50% of what you can be, you know, with more practice and attention to detail and just continue to improve, to solidify our roles. Again, that's something that I think is important to understand. Yeah, we move lots of guys around right now. As the dust settles and players really start to solidify where they are and what they're best at, their roles will become more identified, and you'll start to see a little more rhythm, and you'll start to see a little more cohesion. I'm perfectly okay with going in 5 games that are non-region to figure that out, because it really starts week 6.
So talk about what a week of practice looks like. How do you prepare? I assume you're already into preparations for Alpharetta. Game's only 5 days away. Talk to us about what each day this week looks like for you guys, both as players and coaches.
Well, I guess we'll start immediately after the game on Friday nights. The coaches and I will meet. We'll run through the film quickly, just to kind of get a bird's eye view of it. It's not evaluation period, but more of a, you know, personnel check and just kind of seeing essentially, you know, how we played on both sides of the ball. We'll talk about practice plan. We'll talk about personnel. We'll talk about, you know, needs for JV and special teams and all those things. That's typically about a 2-hour meeting after our game. Saturday, the coaches are on their own, but typically that will be 5+ hours of film work. But you're on your own to evaluate your players, make your notes in the huddle, send those out. Sunday we'll come in at 1. We'll start a staff meeting then, and then that should be fairly quick because of what we did on Friday. Just kind of making sure practice plan's good, personnel's good. You know, do we need to take this guy from defense, make him an offensive primary this week, or vice versa? We're going to bring the kids in at 4. I'll talk to them. It could be 3 if that works better for them. But we'll bring them in essentially for an hour and a half. There'll be a quick team meeting. Then they'll break out in their quick film session for about 30 minutes, and then they'll get a quick workout in. Monday mornings, we'll have position meetings at 7:45. That's part of bringing them in on Sunday, so that we don't have to get to the school so early. I want them to be able to sleep in on Monday a little bit. We will then practice, you know, 3:50 to 6:10, essentially on Monday. Tuesdays we come back in the morning. We practice at 5:50 Tuesday mornings. We went to that by accident a few years ago, and I just really love the way it broke the week up. It pushed all your major install practices up, and then gave you 36 hours to evaluate. It also gives us time for our character development piece. You know, I found that trying to have those type of talks about humility and you know, trust and grit and those type of things before school really didn't register with most high school guys. So we practice in the morning and then come back Tuesday after school and have about a 20-minute character development piece. Coaches will share, players will share, and we'll have a theme of the week. And they'll watch a little film there from practice. Wednesday is a typical practice after school, 3:50 to 6:10. Thursday is a run through, and then it'll be a JV or freshman game that day, and then we finally kick again on Friday, and we start the whole thing all over.
There you go. Coach, rivalry game coming up Friday, Alpharetta. We're 8-3 with these guys since 2006. We're on the 8 end of that. I want to extend that a little bit further. Last year, it was a squeaker, man. We won by a score of 14-12. They threw for 200 yards. We rushed for 190. Jordan Davis intercepted a pass midway through the fourth quarter. The game came down to a final 44-yard field goal attempt, which missed. Final play of the game. Milton wins, right? Narrow victory to start the 2016 season. Alpharetta's going to want that mayor's cut back. Have you had much of a chance to scout them? Do you know much about them?
Yeah, we actually got a chance to look at them a little bit Friday night as they played Lambert, and then now we've got that film, and that's what we were busy breaking down today. You know, as we got the preliminary game plan kind of outlined, and we'll continue to refine that, but I think it's one of the best Alpharetta teams I've seen. I really believe that. I'm very familiar with Alpharetta. We played them several times when I was at West Forsyth. You know, Josh Dobbs threw for 1,000 yards against us in 2 games, so that guy was pretty special. However, we did beat him his senior year, 63-45, and that was quite a game.
You seem to remember that one, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that was fun as an offensive play caller, I'll tell you that. But they're solid. They're solid in all 3 phases on defense. They're very stout in the middle. They've got some good senior D linemen, senior linebacker. That's one of their captains. And then they've got some high-profile DBs and solid in the back end. On defense, on offense, they got a senior quarterback who has been starting since he was a sophomore. They've got a senior running back who's been starting since he was a sophomore. They've got some good skill guys and some big boys up front as well. So I expect a great game, just like it has been. You know, they have definitely set the precedent for close, exciting games. It looks like here between the Milton and Alpharetta rivalry.
It will be. Well, this venue is a pretty tough place to talk about game strategy with Alpharetta, since it's located right here in the heart of Alpharetta. Is there anything at all you can share with us about what you're thinking about your game plan for this week?
Any spies in here?
Don't say it.
Then don't.
I think we'll pass.
All right. Good for you. And finally, what's your message for the fans for Friday night? You got any orders that you'd like to have carried out, sir?
Oh, I mean, no orders, none of that. Just continue to be supportive. I mean, that's what these boys need. They're going to come home frustrated. They're not going to understand things from time to time, and we're not always going to be right, and that's okay. But I promise you this, and I promise this to the boys every time I get an opportunity to tell them. There's not a minute of their day with us that's not planned. There's not a minute of their day with us that's not scripted, it's not analyzed, it's not excruciated over. And that goes along with playing time, that goes along with position movement. I mean, if a typical high school team is a 100-piece puzzle, the philosophy that we have breaks it into probably 1,000. When you start introducing multiple positions and things like that, there's definitely a method to the madness. And we touched on that earlier. But again, it takes patience. It takes patience because kids are going to be asked to be moved around from time to time. We're going to constantly be letting guys compete with one another, which means if he's competing right now, then you're watching, and vice versa. So I would just say be supportive. The coaches are doing an unbelievable job, putting in unbelievable hours. I promise you, nobody wants to win out there and make the right calls more than they do. And these boys have put in a tremendous amount of work. And if they're down or they're struggling, pick them up and tell them to talk to coach. And we're going to do our best to put the best product we have out there for you guys, because I think you deserve that.
Very good. Okay, we're going to wrap up this segment now. We're going to go to Q&A after a short break. Let's call it, say, 10, 15 minutes. Come back and...
Okay, guys, how do you think it's going so far?
Yeah!
I think so too. The voice of the Eagles is now going to be the face of the Eagles, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Fantastic. Great face of radio.
One other quick question. How do you like the new logos on the helmet? DL Warfield. Very good. Kids pick them out. Okay. Both y'all's mics working?
We need some volunteers on Thursday to help us put these on.
That's true.
That is true.
5:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got coil so far, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out.
Great, Jim. All right, here we go. Both y'all's mics working okay?
Yeah, we're good. You good?
Okay. So he's got several questions that have been turned in. As they continue to come in, just send them to me. You can text them to me again, and I'll bring them up here.
Lightning
But I
round.
think it's a little bit of lightning round. So get ready for the tough ones, Coach. All right.
All right, here's a good one. Now, this is right up your alley, Coach. You asked for it, you're going to get it here. That fake punt last night against Westlake, planned or unplanned?
Unplanned. Now that is the perfect example of what you take away from scrimmage games. There was a confusion on, Coach was asking, do we have 11? And somebody thought they saw a signal that meant fake punt on our own 20. Up by 7 at the time? 4th and 5? No. If you saw me come onto the field and I was a little shaved about that color right there, it was definitely not planned. However, that is your teachable moment of a scrimmage game. I bet you they'll pay a little closer attention and we'll be a little more careful with our hands on the sidelines.
All right. Full transparency, that's what we're looking for. Good job. Here's one for you. There has been one serious concussion at practice this season already. The program has invested in the guardian caps for the players. Is there any consideration into making them mandatory for practices?
You know, as far as those guardian caps go, I think it's really kind of a personal choice. When I look at things like that and you know, I read the data on them, it's extremely inconclusive from what I hear. Some people say they protect up to 30%. Some things are in between. Some people have negative things about them. So, you know, I kind of leave that one up to a personal choice. I leave it up to parents. I want you guys to know, and I think we sent an email out the other day, if that's something you want your child to be wearing, then they are there, and we will fit them out immediately. But again, the mandatory bullet, if you call it, I'm really, I like to use those judiciously because, as you know, dealing with adolescent kids, and if you ever worked in a classroom, the more times you make something mandatory, the more flack you're going to get back from it. If it's something that they really don't want to do, or they feel like it's silly, or they feel like whatever. If I could find information on something that says this 100% is a game changer in the concussion world, it would be mandatory. And you know, if we come to find new data and the guardian caps are that, then that's something we talk about doing. But right now, it's just, I don't see the data that tells me you got to make this mandatory. You can justify it in that way. So it's an option for them if they want to wear them. We've got several players who wear them, or a couple players who wear them. We've had some try them out and not like them. So we got some who try them out and you never hear a peep out of it. So it's something that we'll continue to experiment with and play around with. But for you guys to know, we do have them. If it's something that you want, you know, your son to wear, then it's definitely something that we can have arranged.
All right, Coach. Am I on? If you could ask one thing of players' parents, what would that one thing be?
Volunteer. Volunteer.
One thing? Yeah, get involved. Just get involved. You know, and I feel like I'm probably speaking to the choir here because I see a lot of familiar faces. And you know what? Maybe one more thing for this crowd is bring somebody else. Really, we talk to the guys all the time about that. You know, whatever it is that we're doing, whether it's a community service deal or whether it's, you know, maybe something that we're doing, you know, after practice. You know, bring a friend. Bring a friend. Try to encourage somebody else to come, and who knows? Because I think that's the beauty of what high school football is. It's really something that attracted me to Milton in the first place. Is there are community roots here. There is a lot of pride in this program here. There is a lot of pride in that school. So you know, if we can really just try to get that buzz going and get people falling over themselves to volunteer, because just like any type of service, what you find is you get more out of it when you get involved and you start getting into it. Just like I said, I'm preaching to the choir here because I see all these faces all the time. So I guess, off the cuff, that's it.
Okay. Coach, I know we heard you say earlier that maybe you said this. The season starts week 6. We're listening. But do you appreciate the good old-fashioned hate that we have for Cambridge? Roswell?
I absolutely do. I absolutely do. And I've talked about this a lot to various people. It's something that's very neat. It's very, again, it goes back to those community roots. You've got the history. I mean, the Milton Roswell rivalry is arguably the best rivalry in the state. What goes on between Milton and Alpharetta right now is just good old-fashioned hate. And then Cambridge and Milton, you split, so you're in each other's backyard. So obviously that's natural rivalries. Haven't had that in the past. In the programs that I've been a part of, that community was so young and blew up so fast. There were no roots. So absolutely, it's something that I'm extremely excited to play. However, I will put this one caveat. Would you give me the option to go 5-0 right now, or 6-0, or 5-0 in the region? And I'm going to take 5-0 in the region every time. Because I think we got to keep that proper perspective. And we're building our plan that way, just so everybody knows. Not that we're not going to put the same amount of time and effort and energy into going out and taking it to Alpharetta on Friday night, but like I said, we still got guys that we're evaluating, and we're trying to not peak in week 1. We're trying to peak in week 15, and so that'll take us through as we
Wow. Yeah, so if you give us the option, we'll take the 10-0 option. Did you throw that one out?
Yeah, I think we all would take that option.
This is a little bit of a repeat. But do you see the kind of the emotion around those hometown rivalries with the coaches, the players, the kids that you're seeing every day? Do you really feel that emotion coming from them?
I know, absolutely, and that's why it becomes. That's what makes rivalries great. I mean, it becomes so infectious. There's genuine pride, there's genuine emotion, and it doesn't matter. What your record is. It doesn't matter what you did the week before. It doesn't matter what you're projected to do later. It really doesn't even matter what happened last year. It just continues to go. And again, back to it, what's cool is you see the guys have their own favorites or their own kind of priority list. There's lots of guys on our team. Alpharetta is that priority. Some guys on our team, Cambridge is that priority. And there's a bunch of guys where it's Roswell is that priority. So it's cool. It really is.
This must have come from the dad sitting in the stands or something. They'd like to know what is in Coach DePlantis' backpack.
Coach DePlantis' backpack. If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Codes, I
It's a
guess.
secret. It's a secret. I think if I told you, wouldn't that just kill him?
All right. Well, listen, those are all the prepared questions we had. Anything else from the field here? Anybody else? Anything else before we let the coach go home, get some sleep? All right. Well, listen. Thanks everybody for coming out. I enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too. I want to thank Ceviche as well. I thank Joel and Chad. Helped us out in a big way here today. They're a big platinum sponsor for Milton High School. I think that means they're at the $10,000 level, and that's a big deal.
Sorry, waiting for my
What's next Sunday? That's right. Right back here next Sunday. Same time. See you then.
Make a friend.
Thanks, everybody.
There we go.